If you're ready to roar with Eshki on a budget, you're going to cut these 10 cards to add these 10 cards.
If you don't have a budget because you're rolling in that Temur green, cut these 10 cards and add these 10 cards.
And honestly, you can just stop watching the video here. All the good information is in the Moxfield below.
And if you want to hear us talk, because we have good stuff to say, the Discord link is below, and stick around for the rest of the video. Let's go.
Eshki is the Khan of the Temur clan. She is asking for big creatures, and she's going to draw us cards and beat the hell out of our opponents for it. I'm stoked on this commander.
Before we get into the cuts, I want to say there are so many red pips that you're going to see we're cutting. I don't understand that.
This is the reddest 3-color deck I've ever seen in my life.
Well, no surprise, our first 2 cuts are Dragonlord Atarka and Hellkite Courser.
Hellkite Courser is an incredible reprint for the alt commander.
Good.
For Obeka, for stuff that's not Eshki.
It's a nombo with your commander, and Dragonlord Atarka, I'm never going to feel good spending 7 mana on that.
Our next cut is Dragon Master Outcast. This is a classic shoulda, woulda, coulda card. Maybe it's cool if it works, but 9 times out of 10, this card just does nothing.
This card is sneaky ass.
It's not that sneaky.
Our 4th cut is Taurine Mauler. I don't mind this card at all. I actually kind of like it, but it's not triggering Eshki. It's growing very slowly and has no evasion.
Our next cut is Kodama's Reach. This 3-mana ramp is clearly not here for this 3-mana commander. It's here for the alt commander.
And the big dragons that we're cutting. Rapicious Dragon, Varix Bladewing, Scourge of the Throne, Stormbreath Dragon, and a new card, Stormshriek Feral.
I'm actually into this Thrill of Possibility type ability. Whoa, say that 3 times fast.
Well done.
But I actually don't want to draw this creature.
None of these cards' power is ahead of their mana cost. We need cards ahead of the curve.
And it doesn't get much more ahead of the curve than Dreamtide Whale. This is a 3-mana 7/5.
Hot, hot, hot!
It is triggering all of Eshki's abilities. Whenever anyone is double spelling, it's proliferating on itself, it's proliferating on Eshki. This is beautiful.
And when you're wailing people in the face when you cast Dreamtide, Chandra's Incinerator costs you 1 mana.
With no buffs whatsoever, Chandra's Incinerator is a guaranteed 1 red as long as you've cast another creature with 6 power this turn.
And every time you trigger Eshki, you get to hit 3 different creatures or planeswalkers on the field.
This card is beating face.
Frickin' rules.
Our third ad is Sirach the Hunt Caller. He's drawing a card off Eshki. The turn he comes down, he can swing as a 5/4, and then every turn after this, he's equipping one of your big threats with haste, which is super essential to a fat creature deck like this.
And if they have haste, they might as well have trample. Garruk's Uprising is our 4th edition. This card is very, very good if you have creatures with power 4 or greater.
Since Eshki is going to be providing us with a lot of cards, our next 2 ads are Goreclaw Terror of Kalsisma and Gwenna Eyes of Gaia. These are both extremely strong ramp spells that are going to keep us double or triple spelling right out the gate.
And our 7th budget ad is Defiler of Vigor. Why this thing is $2, I will never know. A 6/6 for 5 that reduces future costs of things. And whenever you cast a green permanent on each creature, you put a 1/1 counter.
You don't even have to use its mana ability to get that benefit. It's just all of your green permanent spells buff your entire team. This card's crazy. Our 8th and 9th ads are Smuggler's Surprise and Stubborn Denial. We've been noticing a trend where precons are headed really far away from counter magic, maybe because it's not fun, but damn,
Please stop.
This deck needs it.
Please stop.
Please
start
stop.
adding them.
Yeah, this decks need counterspells. It's part of Magic the Gathering. Stubborn Denial is an extremely efficient option for a deck like this, and then Smuggler's Surprise is like a heroic intervention with an incredible upside.
And our 10th ad is Dragonhawk Fate's Tempest, one of my favorite cards from this past year.
Yeah, you almost think you don't quite need the card advantage this provides you, but he doesn't care if you use it or not.
I don't care about the card advantage. I'm going to be whacking people.
Yeah, we're looking at lots of damage coming from this bad boy.
And you know we have to make land adjustments for you, so our land cuts are Evolving Wilds, Sheltered Thicket, Haven of the Spirit Dragon, and the 2 Temples. But Jared, why are we cutting Haven of the Spirit Dragon? We're moving away from dragons. It's whale time now.
Whale time, whale time, whale time. In their place, we're running Dreamroot Cascade, Stump Stomp, Hydroelectric Specimen, Disciple of Freyalise, and Ash Barrens.
Of course.
Almost all of these lands have the capacity to come in untapped, and 3 of them have double value as MDFCs. And you know I think there's no reason not to include Ash Barrens.
Okay, but seriously, some of you really need to fix your freaking land bases.
Yeah, and I've seen the analytics. I know nobody watches the sections where we cut cards in this, but that's really where you're going to learn to become a better deck builder.
So stick around, let's get through the cuts!
Our first 3 cuts are Dragonlord Servant, Nogi Draco Zealot, and Reflections of Lityara. These cards are all designed to work with dragons, but we're moving away from dragons as a focus to dragons as a sub-theme.
Well, time! Well, time! Our 4th, 5th, and 6th cuts are Opportunist Dragon, Leyline Tyrant, and Thunderbreak Regent. These are all fine.
They're fine. Our 7th and 8th cuts are Dragon's Horde and Spitflame. Dragon's Horde is a ramp spell that costs the same as my commander, and Spit Flame is overcosted if I'm not reliably going to be recurring it with dragons.
Our 9th cut is Skargan Hellkite. This is a cut above the dragons we cut before, but still just misses the mark. 5/5 for 5 or a 4/4 with haste. It's okay.
And lastly, we're cutting Selvala Stampede. Even in a perfect world where you have 3 awesome cards to drop with it, you're missing a ton of value by not casting them to Eshki. So if I don't want this card on a good day, I definitely don't want it on a bad day.
Our first ad is Frostcliff Siege. Both of these effects are what we want, and you can determine based on the state of the game. +1/+0 trample and haste is insane, and drawing a card every time we hit someone is insane.
Can I just have 2 Frostcliff Sieges?
Seriously.
Our second ad is Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. This is a known value powerhouse that is also triggering all of Eshki's abilities. And for added value, Escape is a cast.
Our third ad is Heroic Intervention. Our game plan is our board.
Our next 4 ads are Fanatic of Vronus, Bloom Tender, Shadow in the Warp, and Temur Battlecrier. Eshki's going to be feeding us cards as we cast these spells, so the one thing she needs more than anything is mana.
And these are the best frickin' at it.
These are crazy.
And they're all such good rates. With all that mana, cast your Vaultborn Tyrant. This plays off everything Eshki wants to do and just continues to add so much value on top of that.
Our 9th ad is Lightning Greaves. People are going to realize just how strong of a value engine Eshki is and really want to remove her off the board. And it even pulls double duty as a haste enabler for the deck.
And our 10th and final ad is Terror of the Peaks. What does this guy do that we don't want?
Nothing.
And that's all of our high
This time
power
I'm leaving the
stuff.
video.
Okay, my
I'm
bad.
going to build this deck.
Oh, not my bad. You're doing a bit. You're doing my bit. Okay.